Hey everybody, this is Justin, Ampsandsound. What most people don't know about Ampsandsound, it was originally named Schmucks and Mensch Audio. The domain is still available, but getting signage was really a difficulty. Instead of Schmucks and Mensch Audio, we went with Ampsandsound because I wanted to be explicit. We did speakers and we did amplifiers. So it was trying to be sort of tongue-in-cheek in a different way. And my title, not that anybody ever knows this, is not owner, because technically my wife actually owns 1% more of the company than I do. So I'm an employee. But my title is Chief Mensch. What we have in front of us, though, is the Red October. I have a thing for nautical themes. So you have the Nautilus, which was our first big flagship statement piece, which was Jules Verne's boat. And the Red October was the Russian, super sub. And when you think cool World War II-esque, or not World War II, Cold War-esque, the Red October harkens back to that same sort of idea. What it involves, though, is making use of the most famous tube ever created, truthfully, which is the Western Electric 300B. The Red October, I wasn't willing to make an amplifier that used a 300B until the Western Electric was available. I think that there's lots of really wonderful choices from other manufacturers, and I've used them previously. But if you're going to invest in a statement piece amplifier that I hope will outlive me and have 50 years of service, I wanted it to use a touch point that went back to time when things started. And the 300B was the most durable, ruggedized triode that existed. They were put in, repeater boxes and buried in the Atlantic. Something that has no transistors in it, no microprocessors, is built largely the same way Western Electric could have done it at the time. Then using the tube that started that was special. And so for that, the Nautilus taught us how to build on turrets. We already knew how to do it, but how to really take that to an industrial level and build with a great deal of sophistication. And the Red October then was taking that same touch point and pushing it further and going back further in time. So the Nautilus uses tetrodes, thinking like the 6L6s and KT88s, whereas the Red October uses the most special tube ever created. We pair it with a modern front end in the sense of it's a 12AX7, where Western Electric wouldn't have done that at the time. But the 12AX7 allows us to roll the widest variety of tubes, keep the noise floor the absolute lowest. And it's an 10 transformer amplifier at this point. So it's 2 power transformers, 4 chokes, 2 output transformers, and 2 input transformers. We like to bring the iron, both 8 ohm and 16 ohm taps in the rear. So I think there's nothing more special than running like Altec 604s, which I have in my own listening space, or LS35As, which are 16 ohms. So, going really old tubes and really classic thinking speakers is my idea of a good time. By pairing the Western Electric 300B into a headphone amp, you're giving the biggest triode with the most provenance, the greatest musicality to personal audio. What's different about the Red October versus the Nautilus principally is that by default, by using a triode, a true triode, instead of a tetrode wired as triode with the Nautilus, the Red October de-emphasizes the mid-range, which is at some level a more classic American sound. It is a more 50s hi-fi sound, 50s, 60s hi-fi sound to have a little bit of a mid-range bump. But by having those overtones in the mid-range with the Nautilus, you don't get the same spatial cues that you would with the Red October, because the Red October really presents everything with the most even presentation. You hear details in all spectrums of the music that you hadn't heard before, and there's more spatial information. So the Red October provides more spatial cues, better high frequency extension, a truer mid-range that only triodes really produce, where the Nautilus gives you that density of information. It's a different sound. It's the representation of our finest work. Red October is meant to be an all-in-one solution, so for many, many people, it's a DAC that streams a set of headphones and a favorite pair of speakers. And the Red October is the nexus for all of those things. Your favorite set of headphones, there's not a headphone that exists that you can't run, from an HE6, an Abyss 1266, a Susvara, to a ZMF Verite. Your highest efficiency headphones are quiet enough for it, and your most difficult to drive headphones have more than enough power to be bent by it. With 5 impedances, you can really find the voice, the impedance that best matches the voice of your headphones. And then when you want to listen to speakers, you throw a switch in the rear, and your Zeus Soul Supremes are magic and alive and have the immediacy and delicateness that they need.